Welcome to JMO with Josh and Joe. It is Wednesday. We are throwing y'all for a little curve. It's Wednesday, August 10th. And Joe, I don't know if you had the same reaction as me, but when I think my soul almost left my body when I saw the notification that Jameis Winston was injured. How did you react?
My heart, mind, and soul like completely dropped when I saw that notification. I honestly can say that I didn't see what a type of injury it was at first. So my mind went exactly straight back to a flashback to the ACL injury. And I was like, no, did he just re-injure it or something in that magnitude? But luckily enough, I found out it was just a high ankle sprain.
Right. That's that's exactly what I thought too. Cause I was just, oh man, I've been so pumped. I've been so fucking pumped for this year that that just would have killed me. I might have just buried myself in a hole and just never got up again. But yeah, that's all good.
You've been Jameis Winston's #1 fan this entire time. I mean,
don't worry. I was legitimately concerned like a mother for her child. Yeah, it was. Anyways, so now that's okay, it's just a high ankle sprain. Mike, let's talk about Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is looking gnarly.
Dude, it's coming out on fire right now, which was the exact news that was getting me hyped up because, I mean, Olave was already doing Olave things. You know, Jarvis Landry is going to be there. I mean, he's just a veteran, so he's not going as hard during this time. And he's already got his spot solidified. I was just worried about Michael Thomas, but now that we got the trio together, let's go, baby.
We're done. It's done for all you hoes. Just one quick thing. Joe and I are on a Zoom call, throwing it back to when we first got started. We're on a Zoom call because Joe's on another business trip, businessman. So he we ended up having to record via Zoom, which is okay. It's fine. It's just it sounds a little different. But let's get to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers recently admitted or announced that he did ayahuasca. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but yeah, he's a drug guy, but he does illegal drugs, or he does legal drugs.
He coined it as the secret to him getting back-to-back MVPs. And is it illegal? Is it a legal drug?
If it has a direct impact on him getting back-to-back MVPs, I think we should be okay with steroids, right? Like, what do we do? Like, it obviously helped him.
Oh, it did. And I was wondering how did he pass the drug test? And my conspiracy theory was just like they just ignore Aaron Rodgers, you know?
Well, nobody wants to get near him because he won't get vaccinated and he's immunized or whatever.
That's very true. You make an excellent point there.
Yeah, nobody just wants to get close enough to him. So what this stuff is, I was actually looking it up. It's kind of interesting, but they use it in ceremonies. It's from a plant, I believe. It's a psychoactive brew that's used both socially and as ceremonial spiritual medicine among the indigenous people of the Amazon basin. Now, what you can do is go on a retreat, and you have a shaman that will lead you on this ceremonial trip or journey, if you will. It leads to an altered level of consciousness due to the psychoactive substances in the ingredients, one of them being DMT.
Yeah. I love how you actually went into it as well, because and for the audience, we're in different places because you took a trip right before I took a trip, so we didn't actually discuss this in person, but I took a look at it as well, and it's made the plants that it's made out of. The main two ingredients is the Banisterial copy vine and the Psychotria viridis plant as well, which is from the coffee family, but both are psychedelics
Ah, is that why?
and make you and he'll hallucinate or
Gotcha.
hallucinogenic effects.
Right. Yeah, and I heard like the ceremonies, like when you do it, you need somebody watching you because it could get like really intense. So I don't know. I think we should just legalize all drugs, right? Just legalize them because I mean, if this drug is legal and it's helping Aaron Rodgers get back-to-back MVPs, then I guess no, you're right. It's not doing anything. Not doing anything to him. You're right, you're right, NFL. Josh Gordon's over there rolling in his grave.
Well, yeah, I know, right? It's performance enhancing drugs. So like, I mean, just because it's not a physical enhancing, it's a mental enhancing. So like, and a quarterback, his job is all mental. Like most of it's mental. I mean, obviously you got to have some quarterback, you got to have some arm talent and, some accuracy, but most of it, as Peyton Manning will tell you, it's just reading the defense, knowing where you're going to go with the ball.
Right.
So
and
like, yeah.
And if you have a drug that'll help you know where you're going with the ball better than the defense or better than yourself, because you become on this like enlightened level so you can see the future. Yeah, it definitely. Actually, I think this helps people more than actual PEDs that give you insane amount of muscle or endurance.
Yep. No,
So
you're
yeah,
absolutely right. He probably, like you said, he probably saw into the future and saw exactly what plays he was going to go against this year or those 2 years.
that's hit the nail on the head. So legalize all drugs. Do it.
Let's just see how good everybody can be, like,
That's
with all the drugs.
Yes, I want to see how good this human race can get. Like I want to be like Achilles. Everyone's like Achilles,
Yes.
like way back in the day. That's what I want. Let's see. You got anything else on Aaron Rodgers?
That's about it.
So the NFL appealed the Watson verdict, the Deshaun Watson verdict, which with all the backlash that it got, it's not surprising. I kind of expected that, but I think now it's going to finally go for a year. I can't see them just going with the same 6-game suspension just because like it's first of all, it's too short. Second of all, like everyone was mad about it and the NFL. It's going to happen. So we will get to see Cleveland themselves.
Yep. Which that begs the question now, does Cleveland go after Jimmy Graham? Not Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo. Almost. They're both Jimmy G's.
Jimmy G's, yeah.
They're both Jimmy G's. I don't know. Because you can't stick with Jacoby Brissett all year. Like we talked about last week, he has a limit, and he's great for that little bit of time, but he runs out of tricks. He runs out of tricks, and people figure him out.
Yeah. So they won't be able to continue the whole season with him, but Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know.
He's a winner.
But he is a winner, but what, you have to trade for two quarterbacks?
Yeah. I mean, Josh Rosen, he'll be below average at best. He can, oh man. The fact that he has a job again is wild. I mean, he's only 25, I think. Yeah, 25.
He's should be young.
Yeah, he's in his mid-20s. Let's see. We have Justin. Oh, dude, Justin, our kicker got paid. Justin Tucker, you saw he got $4 million, 4-year, $24 million.
I did see that. As a kicker in the NFL, he definitely is like the best of the best.
Yes.
But what's a fun fact, and we'll go into more I know we're going into more fantasy later on, but he actually has never been the number one kicker in fantasy.
No way. Really? So he's always been beat. Wow.
He's always been beat. But he's always been one of the top kickers.
Yeah,
in
but
fantasy, but
so well, like when you average it out, he's number one, but he's never actually been number one fantasy kicker. Interesting.
yeah. So little fun fact.
That's cool. I didn't know that. So I just don't, if I want the number one kicker, I just don't draft us Justin Tucker because he won't be the number one kicker. You just gotta, you gotta go with somebody else.
Yep.
Pick it out. So that was good. It was nice to see that. Dude, all right. So I saw this, and the refs apparently are going to focus on illegal contact calls more. Like we need any more subjective calls.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing that, but I think I felt like they were doing it based off the numbers rather than actually actually analyzing each of the situations. Because from what I saw, the reports that were coming out was like, oh, we had 38 one year, and then we only had like 6 this previous year, and it's like,
Right.
well, go check and see if that matches. I hate when that people just look at the numbers, because it's like, okay, look, numbers are a good indicator, but at the same time, you got to go check and see the situation. Maybe the players have gotten better at at tackling, or maybe it was more of judgment calls where, the refs noticed that the defender wasn't leading with the crown. The offensive player actually led with ducked their head down and ran into the defensive player's positioning.
Right. Oh, I agree. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. If the NFL does this again, man, I think people are going to have a problem with it. I hope they test it out in the preseason and realize how fucking terrible it is. But I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it.
I mean, honestly, if we can just do the same thing with the Watson situation, if we just get pissed off enough on Twitter, we'll just have them change it.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Just get pissed off, get everybody all riled up. So what do you call it? The Hall of Fame game was Thursday. It was nice to bet on football. It was nice. The Raiders -3.5 was probably the easiest money I've won. No, it's not the easiest money I've ever made, because I'll tell y'all what the easiest money I ever made was. So over the weekend I went to Pittsburgh and I was in a wedding. And the wedding was on Friday. So I wasn't used to weddings being on Friday. So I'm in Pittsburgh. I haven't been in Pittsburgh in a while. I go and Saturday decide to go to the casino. And Joe, I got a little drunky pants, and I put $100 on the Mets. Yeah, right. Go figure. I put $100 on the Mets -1.5. Forget I put $100 on the Mets -1.5. Put another $100 on the Mets -1.5, and it hit. Like they won by like 4 runs. And then I was like, oh, let's go. Casino, hit the blackjack table, went on a heater, and ended up paying
Absolute heater.
Yeah, dude. And ended up paying for my entire trip. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch any of the Hall of Fame game, but it was nice that it was on and that I could bet it.
It was nice. I turned it on because it was football. Football was back, and it was just nice to see everybody on the field. It felt right.
Yep.
Now, granted, by the time I got to halftime, I actually realized it was the game sucked, but I didn't actually realize it until halftime, because I was in the moment. I was in the moment of was it transipity or whatever that word is, or
serendipity?
Serendipity. That's it.
There was a bunch of great things happening at the same time, and you were just experiencing it. Good for you, bud.
Yes.
Let's see. I wanted to talk about so Bill Belichick hates fantasy.
Yes, I honestly, he's got the quote of the week. You want to say it?
No, you got it.
Okay, so obviously Belichick, he's good with his quotes, and I had a couple of thoughts on this. So Belichick, he comes out and was asked about fantasy football because obviously people are always frustrated with most of his teams each year with fantasy football, except for maybe Tom Brady has been the most solid fantasy football contributor. And so he was questioned about it, and his reaction, his response was, fantasy football doesn't mean anything to me, which is exactly word for word what I would expect from Bill Belichick.
Right.
But I would have to say, though, I feel like this is my conspiracy theory on this. Bill Belichick sucks at fantasy football.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because he picks his own players and his own players suck at fantasy football.
He picks players that have no contribution, or has more contribution to non-stats that are not calculated for fantasy football. So he probably drafts a running back and he's like, man, that guy's a good blocker. Like, he's really, really good. I'm gonna grab him as my first running back.
Right.
Giovanni Bernard, he really does protect that quarterback on third down. I really need to have him on my team. So he drafts it based off of players that he actually puts on his team, and he probably just sucked one year. So that's why he hates it.
No, also, he had 8 different wide receivers on his team and didn't draft a kicker or he didn't draft a defense or a kicker because he had no idea. So he tried to put wide receivers in the kicker and defense slot, and they wouldn't let him. And he just got frustrated and threw his computer across the room.
Yeah, because he could convert wide receiver. He just was thinking, I can convert wide receivers into cornerbacks.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. He changed lacrosse players to wide receivers. So he could just, he could do whatever he wanted. So yeah, I can see why he's frustrated with fantasy. Okay, I'm glad we figured that out. That was cool.
Yeah.
Some nice clarity.
Belichick just sucks at fantasy.
That's it. That's all. Yeah. You got anything else in the NFL before we get to our little fantasy segment?
Knox is back.
What?
Hard Knocks is back.
Oh yeah, dude. I haven't watched the episode yet, but apparently it's been really good.
Yep. Yeah. We just got the subscription for it, and we'll be watching it, maybe doing some recaps on it during our podcast. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I've been at a business trip and Josh has been preoccupied with his stuff as well, hadn't had a chance to go check it out, but we'll get you a recap here shortly. But honestly, I feel like I had a tie for the quote of the week with Dan Campbell, which this probably is going to be pretty, often happening with Belichick and Dan Campbell, trading quotes for the week.
I mean, they're essentially the same people, just Dan Campbell's a little more outspoken and a little more emotional.
Yes. Yeah, he's more emotional, and Belichick is more kind of
calm.
Not emotional?
Calm. Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, so Dan Campbell was pumping up the crowd, and this was the quote that we got. He was like, "We are freaking starving. We are starving. So hyenas better get out of the way." And which I'm assuming is a Lion King reference, with him being the lions.
Yeah, that's definitely a Lion King. Oh, that's great. Good for him. I thought you were going to talk about him trying to fight people with one butt cheek and 3 toes. That was I don't remember the exact the exact quote, but yeah, he was talking about fighting people with one butt cheek and 3 toes. So
yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less.
No, I can't wait for the rest of this Hard Knocks. This is going to be fucking great.
Yeah. If I saw somebody with one butt cheek and 3 toes coming after me, I would think that's Dan Campbell.
I don't know what I would think. I like, it looks like a mutant. All right, you got anything else in the NFL?
I think that wraps it up.
Okay, let's. So what we were going to do, what we did last week was we gave our opinions on things like PPR versus no PPR versus half point PPR, fantasy or dynasty leagues versus standard leagues versus keeper leagues. So this week we got, since most people are doing their drafts around this time, we're gonna do like some of our guys to look for. So like some sleepers, some busts, guys that'll be busts or rookies to look for. And I have my who I think what quarterback I think should go number one. So Joe, let's start with you have any sleepers you want to go with?
Yeah. So I went with the under the radar fantasy players, the little sleepers that, especially some of them for deep leagues if you're looking for people late in the draft, but and then also people that that might go into the middle, but maybe should be going up a little bit higher than what they actually are. And we'll start off with what reports have been coming out of the Bills camp. James Cook, running back out of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And the report is that he has been lighting it up. And honestly, I kind of actually really like this pick when they drafted him, because there's no really established running back in Buffalo right now. It's been like kind of a revolving door of like, players in and out. James Cook comes from Georgia. Doesn't kind of reminds me a little bit with Mark Ingram. Didn't have a lot of tread on the tires when he came out of college. And that's kind of what the case was at Georgia. They, Zamir White had a lot of the bulk carries, and James Cook. But if you remember, if you kind of are putting two to two together right now, James Cook is the younger brother of Dalvin Cook, and has some talent. Came out as a 5-star running back out of high school, so I'm expecting big things out of him. Another guy I've got Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. I think is going to go off this year.
Are you doing the rookies?
No, I'm not doing rookies. I'm doing under the radar players.
Okay. No, so, I like Michael Pittman Jr. as well.
Yeah. Matt Ryan favors his outside guys. He's always favored Julio Jones, Roddy White, Calvin Ridley. I think that's just going to continue with Michael Pittman Jr. Another wide receiver I got that isn't getting a lot of the love that I think it should, but is Jared Jeudy. Now, obviously, the passing game is going to ramp up in Broncos. Tim Patrick got hurt and he's out for the season. A lot of people think that's going to go on to Cortland Sutton, but I think the higher ceiling is Jerry Jeudy. And I know he's coming off that nasty injury, but if he's fully healthy, I think he's got a higher ceiling than Cortland Sutton.
You mentioned Tim Patrick, right? I can't remember. Tim Patrick's out, so yeah, I think it'll open everything up. Yeah, I like it.
And then I got a couple more. I'll go through them quickly. I've got Ezekiel Elliott as my under the radar guy.
I got Zeke Elliott too. I think he's going to eat. He looks good, and he people like all the rankings that have him going in the 3rd round. Are you kidding me? He's a first round talent.
He is really, really good. I mean, we've seen him when he's in his prime. And I think the last 2 years, I saw videos of him, and they were saying, "Oh, he's back. He's going to be eaten, yada yada yada." But I didn't believe it. I really just thought he still looked sluggish, and he just, maybe he still looked a little fat and whatnot. But this year really does look different. And when I've seen him in camp and doing drills and such, he's got a step right now. So
the Cowboys
I'm kind of buying in.
Yeah, the Cowboys have to prove themselves. Zeke has to prove himself. So like they're going to be that they're against the kind of like backs against the wall type thing, and they got to go. So yeah, I agree with you on Zeke. What you got?
And then with my last guy, I got this one. This one's kind of I think it's going to be really under the radar type of guy, but I got Hayden Hurst at Cincinnati Bengals. Right. And this signing didn't get a lot of like praise because I think Hayden Hurst is kind of on his last leg, but the guy has got full talent. He has got a lot of talent, and people don't realize this about Joe Burrow, but he does like to favor those tight ends a little bit. He likes to favor tight ends to help facilitate and move the ball down the field and set up those big plays to the wide receivers. So you hit T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And since those are going to be kind of the focus this year for defenses, I look for Hayden Hurst to eat.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I didn't think of that. I didn't think about that one. Because they still have what's his face, the tight end at in Cincinnati. I can't remember his name right now, but
You're not talking about CJ Uzma.
Uzma, I think. Yeah, is that him?
He's at the Jets.
Well,
He was at the.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about then.
They also, the backup is Drew Sample.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I thought Uzma was still on there, but yeah. Oh, then that's a really good one because yeah, Burrow likes to sling it. So my sleepers, you picked one of mine. I think Zeke Elliott for some reason is just getting zero love, and he's looking like a monster. Another guy kind of along the Zeke Elliott lines, and I know the reason is because he got injured last year, and he's kind of hasn't really been completely healthy so far, but is expecting to play week 1 is Darren Waller. I think Devontae Adams is going to open him up specifically. I know that there's like, oh, well, he's got Devontae Adams. That's going to take away. No, I actually really do think that Devontae Adams, he'll get his yards and everything, but I think it'll open up Darren Waller, especially down in the red zone. So I got Darren Waller is going to be one of my guys. This one's just a jab at you. But Donta Foreman is going to be, because he's the backup at Carolina. And when Christian McCaffrey inevitably gets hurt, he's going to be because Chuba Hubbard last year it's just like, he wasn't the guy. He's a good second or a third back, but he's not the guy. I think Donta Foreman is going to be the guy whenever, McCaffrey eventually goes down. But, sticking with Carolina, I think Robbie Anderson is getting is kind of under the because he's still a really good receiver, and I think he's gonna I think he's gonna play well with Baker, who I also think is gonna start. So I don't know.
Yeah, Baker's got good experience. I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be a top level quarterback, but at the same time, I mean, he still chucked the ball around at Cleveland a little bit, enough for him to, at least for fantasy purposes, give Robbie his amount of yards that he needs.
Right. Okay. I'm going to go through my busts real quick. So Christian McCaffrey, easy bust, easy number 1 bust. And obviously for obvious reasons, it's going to be, he's going to get hurt. 100% going to get hurt. And
with his glass bones.
Huh?
With his glass bones.
Yeah. And so I got him. One thing that I think is going to surprise people, and I think it's mostly because he's going to be taken too high, is going to be Ty Hill. Bust. Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be good. The Dolphins are going to crumble, and he is not going to have Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
But so yeah, I got Ty Hill, and then my last one. It's not really a surprise, but I think people are going to reach on DK Metcalf. I mean, bro, when you got Geno Smith and Drew Lock as your quarterback competition right now, I'm sorry, bud, you're not going to get any love. Plus, that team sucks. So those are my busts. What you got?
Yeah. No, that's good. I didn't have the bust. I just had the under the radar players for you.
Oh, okay.
But I do like those. Those definitely are good. I especially like the Tyreek Hill. I just, you can go on the basis of last year when their coach was the offensive coordinator for San Francisco. I mean, what was it? They were number 20th in passing yards.
Yeah.
For the year, just mostly a run heavy type of team. And I see that being the same way, especially with the way he's setting up the team is very similar. The way they had San Fran with all the rotating running backs, Chase Edmonds, Miles Gastons, and there's a couple other guys over there. I'm blanking on right now. I think Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I think Mostert is there too.
Yeah.
So all right. So I got a couple of rookies. I know you picked you said a rookie earlier, I believe.
James Cook.
James Cook, yeah. I love James Cook. I didn't even think about that. That's a great one. My number one is obviously Chris Olave. Chris Olave is just nasty. And here another one, and this is gonna sound like I'm just being a homie because the next one is Tyrion Davis Price. I like how at San Francisco. I like how Shanahan is just utilizes all those running backs, and I think he's a very, very good talent. And my last one is Sky Moore because he's got Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball, and who's he got? Juju Smith-Schuster and McCall Hardman. Like, I mean, obviously there's gonna be Travis Kelce, but dude, I think he has the most potential. Honestly, of most rookie wide receivers, just because of that. Plus, I love his name, Sky Moore.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome name. Definitely the name game award right there, a candidate. But yeah, no, and reports have been coming out from camp that they actually been lining him up in the backfield as well. So they actually are really harping into this Tyreek Hill, replacement.
Yep. So all right off the top of your head, who would be your first quarterback?
First quarterback taken in this draft. If I was going to take the best, who I think is going to be the best quarterback in fantasy this year.
Yeah,
I'd have to go with Josh Allen.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty easy answer. He's set up, kind of primed and ready. Been playing really good. Got the weapons around him. Got the chemistry with Stephon Diggs. I think if they get a little bit of running game, that only makes their offense that much deadlier. Give me Josh Allen.
All right. I mean, I'm going to go with the obvious answer because when drugs are involved, you always go with the guy on drugs. Always. And that's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to take the trophy here, bud.
He's just going to make every wide receiver around him, even if they're no names, just that much better.
Right. He's going to spread his mental awareness, his consciousness to everyone. It's going to be great. Let's go. Do you have anything else for fantasy?
I think that's about it.
Okay, let's go to the NBA real quick because I got some. I wanted to talk about Kevin Durant doubling down. When he said, you remember you saw what he said? He said, it's either him or Steve Nash in the GM. Yep. And basically the owner, Joe Tsai, told him to go fuck himself. Did you see that? Did you see Joe Tsai's tweet?
I did not see the Joe Tsai tweet.
He did not tweet Kevin Durant. What he did was he sent out a tweet on his personal Twitter saying that he backs Steve Nash and whatever the GM's name is. I can't remember, but he's not moving on from them. He publicly just stated that. So he basically told Kevin Durant, go fuck yourself.
I was about to say, I would say that would be like a cryptic tweet, but I mean, he just straight up said it. So it's not, there's no underlining, message that he's trying to say. He straight up said it. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Durant's like them or me. And he was like, I choose them.
I choose drugs.
Yeah, exactly. He's like Aaron Rodgers, and it's like sobriety or drugs. And Aaron's like, I choose drugs. Drugs. Like Aaron's poor wife. I just want him to be sober. He's like, I choose drugs.
Right.
All right. Let's you have anything on that? Anything else on that?
That's about it.
All right, let's do a couple of OT dishes and send everybody on their way. I'll start 19 on this date in sports history. 1975, the first game in the Superdome was played, baby.
Let's go.
Saints. We won't talk about who won or the score, but the Superdome.
It's definitely changed throughout the years since that game of being a home field advantage.
Yes, 100%.
How awesome!
Us in New Orleans are just we're different. We're different breeds.
Different breeds. And how awesome is it that it's the Superdome? Like you call it, like, it makes so much better, everything so much better when you put super in the front of it.
Exactly. It makes everything better. What you got one?
Yeah. So I'll start off with my 1988. The Amonto Oilers trade Wayne Gretzky, so a little hockey, to the LA Kings. And get this, they traded him for $15 to $20 million, which is in 1988. That's a pretty penny.
Yeah, he's the great one.
Yeah, but why trade him just for money? If he's being that great of a hockey player that he is, and you trade him just for money, that's pretty greedy by the owners. I've got to say.
That's what I'm thinking. I agree. So let me see. I got another one. Yeah. So in 1981, the PGA Championship, Larry Nelson wins by 4 strokes against Fuzzy Zoeller. Fuzzy Zoeller. Again, bring back nicknames.
Yeah. Bring back the nicknames.
All right. Yeah. You do one more, and then we'll get out of here.
Okay. I've got on this date in sports history, 2002, San Francisco Giants outfielder Barry Bonds hits his 600 career home run, which brings me to a news clip today that came out is Aaron Judge has just hit his number 45 home run, and it's in August 10th. So I don't know. It's a little nostalgia bringing back the Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, run during this time, when they were getting they were a little bit surpassed Aaron Judge, but at the same time, it's always great seeing the home run leader, especially if he's on a roll.
Right. All right. Well, that'll about wrap it up. We'll see y'all next week. Love you.
Later.